What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Alex Da Silva podcast. We hope you are well and having an amazing day, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. And welcome to another episode. Remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment on whatever platform you're listening. Now, let's get on with the show with your host, Alex Da Silva.
What's going on, everyone? I hope you are well. Welcome to another episode. Today, I'll be honest, this is just a bit of a prompt one, really. It wasn't planned at all, but I've had this question that just kept going around my head, and I wanted to kind of put it out there, and I'd love to get you involved in this as well. So the question is victimhood an addiction? Is victimhood an addiction? And as I've been thinking about it, as I've been sort of debating with myself, I wanted to record this. I wanted to put it out there and get your thoughts on it as well, because here's my thinking behind it. As you know, I'm going through my quarter recliner journey at the moment. I'm rebuilding. I'm doing extremely well. I had my physio session yesterday, and just in context of date, yesterday was the 13th of February. Today's Valentine's Day. I know it's probably going to be a bit late by the time you listen to this, but happy Valentine's Day. But either way, it doesn't matter. I hope you're having a beautiful day with your loved one. And if you are single, enjoy it. Valentine's Day isn't really about being with someone. It's about enjoying life. It's about feeling loved. And there is no one that's going to love you more other than yourself. So always love you first. And this takes me straight into that topic about victimhood being an addiction. And I think it is. I really think victimhood is an addiction. And let me explain why. Because some people thrive in the poor me attitude, the poor me that comes with it, the attention, what people say, how they treat you. And you're almost being mollycoddled. You're being almost in some ways being taken care of. And I think there is a deeper rooted issue, especially with the wellness work that I do professionally. I've come to understand, when you look at it, really look at it, psychologically, there is a deeper rooted issue. And I truly understand and believe that's where that victimhood mentality can get triggered. And often or not, it can come from mom, dad, both. Doesn't matter. And often it comes from childhood trauma, where the child may not have received the attention, the care, the love, the needs that they deserve and they require in order to grow up healthy, strong in mind, body, spirit, to be confident, to have resilience, to learn about accountability and responsibility, to learn about boundaries, to learn to never give up. Because when you're not receiving these things at home, and your parents aren't showing you these things, your parents aren't teaching you these things, and FYI to current parents and those who may be struggling with this, this is so important that you're teaching your children these things, that you're showing them all of these things, you're giving them these needs. And in Western society, we've grown up with, no, just let them cry out. Don't ever let a child cry anything out. Soothe them. Give them that love and that care, so they understand that it's okay. They understand that they are needed, that they're worthy. Because if you just leave a child to cry it out, what you're teaching that child is that they're not worthy of your love. They're not worthy of your care. They're not worthy of your attention. And in time, this will trigger later on down the line many, many different traumas. So it's really, really important. And typically, which, this often happens, those who are struggling, those who are suffering, and by the way, this was me at some point. This was me too. So I'm not coming just from a professional perspective. I'm talking from somebody who's experienced this myself, because my mum rejected me in many different ways. I was left to cry things out. I was made to feel like I wasn't good enough. I was made to feel that I was never really going to be anything. And it wasn't intentional. This is the thing. None of these things were intentional, because I did the healing work, because I learned about self-love, self-care, self-respect. I learned about accountability, responsibility, boundaries. I learned to love myself. I learned to understand who I truly am. I went deep within and continue to do it still to this day. So I only discovered these things because I went into it. So I no longer sit in that victimhood mentality. I no longer need to blame anybody for anything. I take full accountability and responsibility for my behaviors. And that's what needs to be done. So the thing that I keep seeing, especially now as I'm going through this call to requiner, some of the groups that I'm actually, I say some of the groups, I've been kicked out of two of them because the positive posts I share, one of them that I shared, it all kicked off. And, again, the victims, who just give up in life and they blame everybody else for their shit, and they don't want anybody else to succeed. They want to bring everybody else down with them, and they really make it known, oh, poor me. And honestly, this is not even a joke. I've had people in there commenting, and I feel sorry for these people, by the way. I have a lot of sympathy. I have a lot of empathy, because I am one of these people that I truly love people. And I share these things. I don't have to. No one pays me to share anything. No one pays me to share my journey. No one pays me to, to knowledge share. I'm just knowledge sharing because there is not enough research out there for this stuff. There is not enough information out there. And a lot of people get left with nothing, no physio, no support. As soon as they're out, they can take a few steps at the hospital discharges them, and that's it. There is no blueprint. There's nothing that you can follow afterwards. They don't give you anything. They just like, right, okay, you're on your own. And unless you fight for these things, a lot of people do get left on their own. And because this is so rare, 6 in a million people, get affected with this stuff. So it's incredibly rare. And if you listen to Lydia Dent's episode, she talks about it there. She's a specialist nurse, and she says there are people that go their whole careers, GPs, doctors, consultants, specialist nurses, who will never, ever diagnose somebody with Calder-Requiner syndrome. So I'm learning this stuff. So I'm only sharing in hope that as a community, we can share more and more positivity. And thank God, like everything else on the planet, 90 to 95% of people are always, always, always incredibly supportive, because that's what they want and that's what they need. But you get that small mentality, and it is a mentality, it is an addiction. It is something that is a mindset. And this is one of the things that get blasted about a lot. Oh, I wish mindset would be the thing that helps me to recover. The thing is, if you really understood who you are, and you take the time to do healing work, and you take the time to get to know yourself, you will understand that you are a mind, body, and spirit complex. That's what your human form is. You cannot deny that. Science proves it. So, and you have a brain, you have a body, which is your vessel that you walk around in, you wheel your chair yourself in, whatever your situation may be. And you do have a spirit, which is why you are alive. These things have been proven now. It's consistently been proven. If you don't believe it, go do some healing work. Come and do some breath work with me, and I will take you to that place where you see it. It's that simple. You cannot deny this stuff anymore. So for those of you that never want to believe it, that's okay. I don't care. I don't need to explain myself, any further when it comes down to this stuff. But it is a fact. All of these things are a fact. And they are factual in a sense that what you think, you believe, you become an experience. That's a fact. just take the time to think about the last 10 minutes, the last hour of your day. Were you thinking about things positively? And what was happening to you? What was happening for you? Were you thinking negatively? Did you have an argument with someone? Did you continue that argument in your brain? Were you thinking about it, creating a mind movie? And all of a sudden, how was your day? Something that can trigger you for a moment, a negative moment, all of a sudden becomes a day. Oh, I'm having a really bad day. Oh, why? What happened? Oh, I had an argument with someone, and all of a sudden, the day just talk me through that process. Well, I had an argument with my partner this morning. I went to work and I was thinking about it all the time. In the end, somebody cut me up. I ended up having an argument with them as well. And by the time I got to work, I realized I'd forgotten to do something. My boss had a go at me, and then we ended up having words. It's the thinking, it's your energy that you're putting out there that's attracting these things to you. People talk about law of attraction. You are an energy being. So really be mindful around your behaviors, who you are on a day-to-day basis, because we only have moments. We only have moments. You cannot fast forward life. You cannot go backwards with any decisions you make. So when you understand, you truly, truly understand that you're just in a moment, then things will begin to change when you start to realize your behaviors. So is victimhood an addiction? Absolutely. Think about it. If you think about it from that perspective, that you are what you create, you are what you think, well, there's no difference with regards to that too. And why is it an addiction? Because, when people get happy and they're on their phones or they're watching something, we get those dopamine hits. That's what it is. This is why social media platforms are so addictive. This is why they're so popular. That's why there are billions and billions of people every single day visiting these platforms, because they want the next dopamine hit. You're addicted to it. You're an addict. I'm an addict in recovery. I've been in recovery for almost 8 years. I know a thing or two about recovery. I've been around for a little while. So again, I'm just sharing personal and professional knowledge. So before somebody comes in with a fucking smart ass comment, I'm not sharing anything I don't know about. I'm not sharing anything that I haven't experienced myself. I do this work day in and day out. I have to do the work on myself day in and day out. So I'm not speaking from a high places. Look at me. I'm speaking very humbly to also say, I understand how it feels and this is how this podcast is now being created, because I was thinking about something and I began to go through scenarios in my head. So the mind movie, and thought, wow, that's so powerful. I want to share that experience actually. And it just began with me having an imaginary argument with somebody who was playing the victim and I'm playing the victor. And then me having a conversation with someone. And I like to do things like that sometimes, and especially now because I'm so consciously aware, I sit there and allow it to play out. I allow this scenario to play out to see where it's going to take me. And every time it takes me to the place where I'll go, okay, cool. Thanks for sharing. And that's what I do. I look at my thinking now. I don't need to buy into it. I don't need to attach to it emotionally, because everything that you attach to emotionally, you're giving out your energy. And your energy is so precious, so precious. So I learned now to observe. So it's almost like I'm watching a movie, and I observe. And sometimes I get excited. Sometimes I can feel myself getting a bit nervous, but I'm still just trying to watch. And as I observe, I also try to learn from myself, learn from that thinking, learning from that behavior. What's that going to do for me? What's going to be the trigger? Like, what's going on here? So as soon as I start to kind of understand that, I am the person in control. I am the person who's responsible and the master of the self, which is the mind, body, spirit complex, which is you as the human being, the man or the woman, whatever you are. You're the master. You're the person that controls this vessel. So it's not like, so to kind of go into this victim mentality, when people go into, oh, poor me, you're never going to understand me, oh, my life happened and this happened, for or to me, and I get it with the circumstances around called a recliner, some people are left paralyzed, and it's heartbreaking. And I woke up paralyzed, and that was frightening. It was really, really frightening because I didn't know, am I going to walk again? Like, what's going to happen to me? And, like I said, I had my physio. My right foot has woken up. My toes are moving. She even said to me, now I don't have to walk with a splint anymore. But the left one isn't quite there yet. But it's there. There are signals. Things are twitching. So I have to wear a splint on the left foot. And I'm walking around, my place now, barefoot. I use only one crutch now instead of two. And she said to me, wow, like, you're really progressing so well. Keep up the good work. So the next thing for me now, the next progression is I can go out with just one splint on my left foot, but I have to use two crutches. I'm not quite there yet to walk around with one crutch completely, but I'm getting there. And I understand that that's not everybody's story. I get that. Even in recovery, in addiction, everybody has their journey. But here's the thing, it is your responsibility. It's your responsibility of where you want your journey to go. And I understand that you may wake up, and again, I don't know people's story. So I'm only going to make a very educated guess here. And I would love to, in turn, this is something that for me, I'd love to do, is to actually gather a big community of people and start to, work with professionals and start to build something that can actually help people, because so many people get left and they think that this is it. But I'm sure, without professional diagnosis, I'm sure some of you will have that diagnosis. So I'm not talking to you, by the way, but those who have been left, there may have been a chance there. So, if we can avoid that in the future, if that's something that that we can help with, that's a goal for me. I would love to be able to get to that point where I can, pay this forward, help other people to, regain some form of life, and to be able to build something. But that's a different mindset, and my mindset is I'm never going to give up. I said to my wife today, it's scary to go through this stuff because, yes, my physio told me yesterday, honestly, Alex, I see someone just before I come and see you, and I turned up to this person's house, and she said, so did you do your exercise? And he went, no, I didn't. And like, are you gonna do the exercises? And like, most likely not, no. And she outright asked him, was like, what's the point of me being here? Like, do you want me to be here? And he went, yeah, definitely. And she then comes to me and she's like, honestly, for us in the industry, you are the ideal person to work with, because not only do you work hard during the physio sessions, you do everything that we ask you to do, and you go the extra mile. You go to the gym, you do all of these things. And it's no wonder why you're recovering so quickly. And I said to her, what is it about that? Like, what is it? Is it just mindset? She went, your mindset has a lot to do with it. And this is coming from a professional. This is a neurophysiotherapist who's been in the industry for years. And she's actually going to work for the hospital that I was in. And these guys are specialists in their field. She's actually going to go and work exactly where I was being treated, and she's going to be working with the people that treated me. So she's incredible, and I've already asked her. I want her to come on the podcast, so you guys will hear from her in the future. So, the one thing I asked her is, does your mindset help with recovery? And she said, absolutely. When you have the right mindset, not only does it help you to recover, because you have to be able to put yourself in a position where you're demanding your body to do something that isn't quite happening. And even when I was talking to her about my left foot, she said to me, keep doing the mental work, keep doing the visualization work, keep telling your foot to move, keep getting your foot to move. As I'm talking to you, my foot is twitching, is trying to move. So this is just a live example that the power of your mind, you have to be able to channel this energy into your body to demand it to do what it needs to. And further on, I said, okay, well, what else do I need to continue doing in order for me to succeed? She went, keep doing what you're doing. Do the motor skill exercises, which she gets me to do at home. And I do these things every day now because it has to become like you're brushing your teeth, like you're having a shower, like you're eating breakfast, lunch, dinner. It has to become something that is so ingrained in your day-to-day routine that it just becomes a natural part. So the motor skill stuff now, when I'm playing with the kids, or if I'm putting them to bed, I start doing leg exercises, the standing leg exercises that I can do that helps me with my hamstrings and my glutes. And we all laugh now because I just start exercising just midway in conversation. If I'm doing something, it's just become such a part of it. Even when I'm talking to you, I'll do my bow and bladder exercises, in trying to squeeze the sphincter that helps, with the bow and bladder movements, doing the pelvic exercises. Because I kept doing it every single day, I've been doing this for the past 5 months. It'll be 5 months in about 10 days. It's just become a natural part of my day-to-day routine. So the mind plays a huge part, not only in your recovery, but the experience that you have in life. And then doing the exercises, doing the things that you need to do. And by the way, this isn't just for Call to Requiner. This is also in life. Do you want to lose weight? Do you want to achieve a business? Do you want to be successful? And I don't mean monetary, where as soon as people hear the word success, they think about money. I'm not talking money at all. If that's something that you want to achieve in the future, it will come. But you have to have these habits, these positive habits. You have to do these things every single day in order for things to, whatever result you want at the end, for it to come. And even when, like I said, I was talking to my wife and I said to her, she said to me, honestly, I take my hat off to you. Like, I'm so proud of you because you don't give up. Like, you do have that mentality where you don't stop. And I said to her, do you know what, baby? Like, it is tough sometimes because it's not like the consultants give us a deadline. My initial consultant said, yeah, things are going to happen by, if you listen to my first episodes around Call to Requiner, they were telling me these sort of deadlines, and none of them came true, other than the one with me getting to the gym. That's the only thing that came to fruition. Everything else didn't quite work out like that. And it wasn't his fault. I think with the way things, with the success of the surgery, the success of the decompression, and as he mentioned to me, post surgery and the way that they saw things, there was no damage or anything like that. But I did say to them, I was completely numb below the waist. Like, I had no bowel movement. I had no bladder movement. I couldn't feel anything. Everything went numb. He goes, are you sure? And he said, yes. I said, so why am I paralyzed? And they're like, don't worry, things will start to come online again. And this is the thing. Everybody's story is so different. But for me, I said, okay, I'm going to go for it then. If, as you said, there's been no damage, everything is all good, nothing is going to stop me from walking again then. And that's exactly what I've done ever since. I've applied myself. It's not the physio's job. It's not the consultant's job. It's no one's job to get me to where I want to be. It's my responsibility. These incredible people are there to help me, but it's my responsibility on a day-to-day basis to get me to where I want to go. I have a coach for my recruitment business. I've got my physio, who's almost like a coach for the physiotherapy that I'm doing. I see these guys once a week. Once a week, I see my coach for my business. I see my physio once a week for an hour each. If I go to a meeting for my recovery, for the addiction, for my 12-step recovery, it's an hour meeting. If I go, a couple of days a week, or if I go once a week, it's still an hour a day. There's 24 hours in a day. Those 23 hours of the day, it's my responsibility to do what I need to do. It's no one else's responsibility other than me. And I think this is that victim mentality where people go, oh, no one's going to help me. Oh, my poor life. I've been left like this. No, you left yourself like this. You left yourself like this because you like people going, oh, poor you. I'm so sorry. And this is true. And I saw it when things kicked off in those two called recliner groups. People, and this is the thing, the victims come together, and there's only like a little few of them. And I've seen them when they comment in other people's positive chats too. These exact same people always comment the same stuff every time. Oh, that's not my story. And it's always the same thing. And it gets to a point where you go, who gives a shit? I'm sorry, but if you're not going to fucking do anything to change your life, that's on you. And I don't mean that, okay, you can't walk, but you're not dead. You're not dead. You're still alive. You've given up on life. You've given up on actually giving yourselves any form of success in life. And let's not beat around the bush here, guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not beat around the bush here. There are hugely successful people who are blind. Ray Charles, for example, who's an incredible musician, can't see shit, but is an incredible singer, an incredible musician. Stevie Wonder, exactly the same. There are motivational speakers who are could have no limbs, but have these incredible lives. They go and motivate the world, motivate me. They motivate so many people, millions of people around the world. There's a guy, I cannot remember his name, but I will, and I'm going to put a link to him so you can go and watch him. The guy has no arms, no legs, but is an incredible human being. Absolutely love him. And I've seen so many other people who are exactly the same. Look at the Olympics. Look at the Paralympics. So this whole thing of, oh, my life's negative, it's bollocks. It's a mindset. So when people say, oh, I wish mindset can help, it can and it will. But it's your mindset that needs to change. It's nobody else's mindset. The problem here is you're getting your dopamine, your hit, your daily little hit by people feeling sorry for you. And it's a vicious cycle. It's a vicious trap because you get addicted to being a victim. You get addicted to people going, oh, no, I'm so sorry. And then what you do, you bitch and moan and complain. Oh, yeah, I know. Oh, my life used to be like this. And you live in the past of a life that never exists, that doesn't exist anymore. That's not you. It's so long gone. It's so far gone. I did a post on social media. I fell a couple of times. Nothing major, by the way. Like I didn't hurt myself, but it was raining the day before. My wife and I went out with the kids. We were going to go to a coffee shop, and I got out of the car because I can walk with two crutches. I stepped onto the pavement, put my crutch down, and as I stepped up, my crutch slipped, and I went forward. But because I do my exercise every day, I do the stuff that I'm supposed to do to get stronger, I caught myself. My wife panicked a little bit. She's like, oh my God, baby, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm cool, baby. So I didn't hurt myself or anything. So I said, look, just hold my hand. And it was actually quite nice because I get to hold her hand. But here's the thing. I held my wife's hand as we walked all the way to the coffee shop. I was never able to do that. And I looked at her and went, wow, look, I'm holding your hand as I'm walking. I wasn't really relying on the other crutch. I was just holding my wife's hand as I'm walking. I was never able to do that. So straight away, because my mindset is so different, I turned a problem into a solution. Something that I could have sat at a coffee shop and gone, oh, my poor life, this called a requirement, and moaned and cried. But I turned it into something positive because I was able to hold my wife's hand there. And then when we go back to the car, the same. I miss holding my wife's hand. We're very touchy-feely. We're very connected. We love hugging and kissing each other. We do that in front of the kids. We do it in public. When we're out and about, I hold my wife. My wife's my queen. I'm rebuilding myself, but I'm still the man. I'm still a man in my family. My son who's 26, my daughter who's 19, I've got my two little ones. I'm still the man of the house. That's my role, and it's not an ego thing. This is who I am. Imagine I give up. My kids who look up to me, even my son who's taller than me, he still looks up to me. He still calls me for advice. When I speak to him, he's like, honestly, Dad, I'm so proud of you. You have never given up on this stuff. And I went, kid, what do you think I'm going to do? There is no choice here. It's not an option, people. I don't give myself the option to give up. I don't have this luxury. I have 5 people that rely on me. I have 5 people that look up to me. They don't expect anything from me. They just wish love and light, and they want me to succeed and to recover. And I do exactly the same. But what I do, instead of sitting there at the coffee shop and pissing and moaning, I went, wow, and we laughed about it. But it hurts my wife because she's always known me. And today, being Valentine's Day, I asked her to marry me. Valentine's Day on the 14th of February, 6 years ago, I asked my beautiful wife to marry me. And it was one of the most beautiful days of my life. So do you know what I mean? Like, when these are things in my life that are so precious to me. My family are so precious to me. The things that happened to me before, they were experiences that led me to today. This is who I am today. I am no longer that man, but life, the creator, God, whatever you want to call it. Actually, I know the truth. I chose this experience. I've done so much healing work. I've done so much breath work. I've done so much ceremonial work. I've done so much inner work that I know who I am. And I know that I chose this experience. So if I chose this experience, I also know the outcome, and I know what my outcome is. And it's not easy, but I'm not going to give up. So this is the thing is, and what I say to people is, you have the choice. Like when I was in addiction, I chose to drink. I chose to sniff cocaine, sniff my body weight's worth of cocaine. I chose to shove other drugs inside me. I chose to be addicted to porn. I chose to smoke cigarettes addictively. I chose these things. Like every decision I make in my life, when I pick up my phone and I'm going through the social media platforms, I choose to do that, but I also choose to go, hang on, put the phone down. You've got work to do. You have a business to build. You have things that you need to get on with. Get on with it. So I'm the same. I can fall into the trap. So by the way, I know it's not easy. And when you're going through something like this, that there are no timelines, by the way. It's not like I know that within a few months, I'm going to be 100%. I'm going to be fully there. I'm working towards a goal. I have a personal goal in my mind where I want to be by this time. And I'm working towards that every single day. Every single day I'm working towards it. And that's all I can do. But no doctor, no consultant, no physio, no one's given me an end date to anything. One of the things I have learned, I'm just going to have some water, excuse me. One of the things I have learned is that when you have spinal surgery, I'm only speaking for Calder Equina, you have 2 years because the nervous system get completely shut off, everything, your muscles shut off. So obviously for everything to regenerate, the first 2 years of your recovery is the most important years. And again, go listen to Lydia Dent, who's a specialist nurse. She shared this with me. And she said, the first 2 years are the most important years of your recovery. And as we kind of delve into it, she explained why. Because the muscles, the more active you are, the more you move, the more you will generate, the more your nerves will grow, the more you are walking, the more you are exercising. If you just lie or sit around and do nothing, you are not promoting movement. You are not promoting growth. You are not promoting regeneration of your nerves. With movement, this is why the mindset, exercising, moving around, Doesn't matter how far you go. And I always talk about, you know, uh, sensory work as well, which means scratching, touching, moving, massaging your legs, your feet, your bum, whatever it may be, whatever areas are affected and have been numb. Tug, pull, scratch, rub with a towel, with the, with something rough, with something smooth, like all sorts. I do this stuff every single day, and my sensory, the nervous systems are all coming back. I was completely numb, and there are some areas now that are still a little bit, but nowhere near as how it was before. Nowhere near. So again, it's a choice. All of these things are a choice. And if you choose to give up on yourself, you have yourself to blame. You do. I know it's so hard to believe, but this was said to me when I was in recovery, when I was in addiction. This is your choice. This is your decision. You are choosing to shove this stuff up your nose. You are choosing to drink. You are choosing porn. You are choosing cigarettes. You are choosing to have multiple relationships. You are choosing to do these things. I understand as a professional now in the field that the brain, again, always bring things back to the brain and the mindset. No one else, I taught myself those behaviors at the time. I taught myself those behaviors. So it's my responsibility, and I have to take accountability for the things that I have to do every single day in order to undo them, in order to reteach myself new habits, new ways, because it's the brain. The brain remembers everything. But over the years, I had to teach myself that I don't need to drink. I don't need to shove anything up my nose. I don't need to take pills. I don't need to take anything. I don't need to watch porn. And over the years, there are certain things that took a little bit longer than others. But the mind-altering substances, as soon as I made a conscious decision, poof, it was done. I made a conscious decision and said no more. And then I did the work, which is the 12-step program. So it doesn't just apply to call the requiner. I did the exact same work when it came to my addiction, when it came down to my business. I'm rebuild because I started to build a business before this happened to me. It started to become really successful very quickly. And then I went to hospital. And in hospital, my number one focus was recovery. And I'm not going to work. I need to get myself out of that bed because otherwise I can't go home. So I spent 5 weeks working every single day to walk again so I can come home. And then as soon as I came home, I still wasn't ready to work. And as soon as January hit, I was ready. And here we are. So I'm working with my coach. I'm looking up because I have a board right in front of me. And in that board, I have my agency and I have all the goals that I have to hit by this month. And I have my podcast of all the people that I have coming in, all my guests that I have coming in. And by the way, it's going to be really cool. All the guests that I have coming, into the podcast, and I've got more people I'm going to be bringing in. And I also have my goals, the goals I want to hit for the podcast. And I'm achieving these things because I'm setting the goals. I'm writing things down. And I have this tiny little pad. You can probably see it in the video. I have this tiny little cool pad that I write things in. I write all my goals. I write all the stuff that I need to. Everything is in here. I write things down. And the reason I do that, because I've learned over the years that when you write stuff down, when you set a goal, it's almost like your mind, you sent an energy out there, you sent a belief, you sent a vision, and unless you stop yourself from doing it, you naturally fall into it. You naturally fall into place. And I've started to study this and look into it by setting the goals that I have for my business and my podcast. And by the way, there are zero monetary goals, zero. There is nothing about money in these boards. Nothing. Just step-by-step things that I need to do in order to achieve the next set of goals. That's it. Nothing else. There's nothing here about money. And I look at these boards every single day, every single day. And if I look at the board, and even in this pad, because I have smaller goals, day-to-day goals that I need to hit in order for me to tick off the bigger goals that are on this board. If I don't do what's on this pad, I'm looking at that board and going, I've still got shit to do. And it makes me feel uncomfortable. It makes me feel really uncomfortable, like I'm letting myself down, like I'm failing. And I'm one of these people that I hate to fail. I don't like failing, but I do fail. And I have failed so many times, so many times. But I've learned that failure doesn't exist. Giving up exists. Failures are just lessons. They're just lessons in life. Like call the recliner. I didn't fail in life. There was nothing really. And people say to me, so what caused the call the recliner? And I say to them, I had a medium degenerative disc that herniated. And it herniated inwards, which causes the corner recliner, and it trapped the corner recliner nerve. And it's hard to diagnose until you have an MRI scan. It's hard to diagnose. And this is what's so hard about this too, is that if we can get to a position within the professional field that people can get diagnosed earlier, a lot of these issues can be avoided. But this is an ongoing process because it's so rare. 6 in a million. It's extremely rare. So, it's one of these things that, it's an ongoing process, but which is why I'm dedicating, the work to do this, to be able to help as many people as I can, even those people. And this is the thing that those of you with this victim mentality don't understand. I'm on your side. I'm not against you. I'm on your side because I see your story. I see what's happened to you. I see how you were left by the professional field. And I'm going, not on my watch. It's not my fucking responsibility, but I don't want this to happen to me. And I don't ever want this to happen to anybody else because it's not easy. It's not easy. It's tough. And I have to keep doing this for the rest of my life because I don't ever want this to happen to me again. So I will rebuild my mind. I will rebuild my body, and I will be stronger than I have ever been before. Exactly the same decision that I made in recovery. When people say, listen, the relapse rate in recovery is huge. For somebody to get to a year, it's a miracle. It's an absolute miracle. Those who get to a year are within 10% of people who ever get to a year. The people that get to 2 years, that number gets even smaller. The people that get to 5 years, that's less than 1% of people who are in the 12-step program. Less than 1% of people. You're like within the top 1%. You get to, 7 years, 8 years, you get to 10 years. You are within a very small community of people. Because it's not easy. It is tough. Because the biggest problem that you discover when you're in recovery, is that the problem isn't the drink or the drugs. It's you. You are the fucking problem. And it's no different when you get presented with call the recliner. Okay, so this is your situation. What are you going to do about it? This is the lesson in life. What are you going to do about it? What path are you going to choose? And you only have two. Are you going to be a victor, or are you going to choose victimhood? It's that simple. Win or lose. Positive, negative. What choice? You only have two of them. You cannot bullshit your way out of this. And in life, it is that simple. Because people go, well, life's not that simple. Actually, it is. The human brain only chooses only has two functions: positive, negative. That's it. The negative part usually has some purpose too, because it is the fight or flight system. It wants to keep us alive. and the positive is to do with growth, learning, growing, developing. So they both have huge benefits, but the negative can have really bad, very negative benefits, can lead you down some very, very dark places. And there are only two ways, two choices. And when you get off the self-pity pot, when you stop being in that victimhood and you start taking responsibility and accountability for yourself, you start doing the healing work in mind and in body, you will start to see and notice a difference. Sure, you may not walk again, but what life do you want to live? Do you want to keep pissing and moaning and going, poor me, this happened to me? Or do you want to change that and go, okay, so I know that I'm never going to walk again. I understand that, but I don't want to live like this. This life sucks. I'm actually going to make the most out of this, and I'm going to show others who are going through this, whether it's recovery, mental health, whether it's in business, whether it's called a recliner, it doesn't matter. I'm going to be a pillar for our community. I'm going to show people, and I'm going to show them. I may have not been able to walk, but I want to show every person that comes through this group, that comes through my community, that they can do it. And that mindset is going to help them to do it. And whatever it is that I didn't do because I failed myself, because I didn't look at things earlier, I gave up, I'm going to change this and I'm going to help somebody else now. This is your journey, by the way. It doesn't matter what happens to you. It doesn't matter what outcome is. If you just listen to what I just said, this is how powerful you are. Just because you don't walk again, just because things haven't worked out for you, you are a pillar. You're even stronger than me. Because what's happening to you, if you change that mindset, if you change how you think, how you see things, how you see yourself, you are the most powerful person within your community, because you're the person that goes, I failed myself, by the way. I failed myself. I belittled other people. I shout on other people when they were succeeding, when they were telling their success stories. I made it all about me. I made it all about myself. And then I realized I did the work, and I realized where I went wrong. Humbled. I humbled myself and realized, wow, I should have been a pillar to my community. And instead, I was bringing people down. I was tearing other people down through jealousy, through negativity, through victimhood. I was addicted to my behavior. I taught myself all of these behaviors, and I made a conscious decision to change, because I never want somebody to experience and suffer the way that I did. I accepted my behavior. I made a decision to change my behavior. I forgave myself for what I did to myself. And I changed. I did the work daily. And today, I can sit here and encourage you to do this. Wow. This is within your grasp. This is who you are. And it's no different. The effort that goes into living a different life, a more positive, a more fulfilled, a happier, more joyful life, the effort that goes into that at the beginning, it's hard. Why? Because you have wired your brain to be negative thinking, to be negative believing, to taking action in a negative way. So your brain has gotten so used to that behavior that you will now have to do the initial hard work, the hardest work, to reteach your brain to change the way it believes, the way it sees things, the energy that it sends out, and how it manifests things for you. If you do that work, your life will change completely, forever, forever. And not just your life, everybody else around you. And it does not matter how old you are. Don't use those bullshit excuses. So long as you have a breath to take, as long as you can inhale and exhale, you can do this. And do you know why I know you can do this? Because I have seen it with my own eyes, time and time and time again. I'm not against you. I'm all for you. But what you will not get from me is victim mentality. What you will not get from me is me pandering to that bullshit. I will not pander to your BS. I will not pander to that stuff. Ever. I will not pat you on the back for being a loser. I will not pat you in the back for being a victim. I will pat you in the back for not giving up in life, for doing another day, for trying, for working hard, for going that extra mile, even when times are hard. I mentioned that I fell. I went to the gym a couple of days ago. I was trying to adjust the bench at the gym, and I fell backwards, but I fell on my bum. And as I fell on my bum, I laughed. And there was a dude next to me training, and straight away he took his headphones off and he went, "Mate, are you okay?" I laughed and I went, "Yeah." I said, "I just lost my balance because I can't stand on my own at the moment." The first thing he did, he reached his hand out and he went, "Do you want me to help you up?" My ego straight away went, "Nah, I can do it by myself." And I literally reached my hand out and I went, "Thank you." Can you see how the split decision, it's still there? Because that's who we are. You can't ever undo the negative. It's there. It's there to help you. At times it protects you, but at times it can be a hindrance. But when you have self-control, you are the master of who you are. You can make a different decision. That man reached out to me with his hand and said, "Let me help you." The first thing I did is I accepted his help. And as soon as I got up, I went, "Thank you, brother. Thank you. I really appreciate you." He smiled, he went off, came back, and we're training next to each other. And this is the difference between the decisions you can make. My brain still triggers negative things, like the thought that I was having earlier on today about the victimhood, about succeeding. There was a lesson in there for me to learn too, that I can't make anybody do anything, and I'm not berating anybody in any way. I support you. I love you. I care for you unconditionally, which is why I say the things I say. People have said that to me. My wife said it to me once here in the house. I was being a victim. I was playing a victim. I was trying to finish something on my laptop and I was going through a bit of a crappy day. And I couldn't at the time just get up and move. And I said to her, "Please, like, look after the kids for a minute. Let me just finish this." And she said, "Baby, just go into the bedroom." And she gave me the opportunity. She said, "Baby, do you want me to take your laptop into the bedroom for you so you can have a little bit of peace of mind? You can have that quiet time." I said, no, I didn't accept that help. And she won't bullshit me. And in the end, and she's like, "Well, what do you want me to do? Like, the kids are playing." And I went, "What do you want me to do? I can't just get up and move." And I grabbed my crutches and I went, "I can't move. Like, I'm paralyzed." And I wasn't. And she went, "Don't be a victim. That's not fair. Don't be a victim. I offered to take your laptop into the bedroom." And it hurt me at the time. Not what she said, what I did in that moment, my behavior, not what she said, but my victimhood was trying to play what she said to me as a problem. Your wife called you a victim. How dare she? And I was listening to it. And eventually I went, she's right. I played a victim. I'm a victim. This was my fault. And eventually, in time, we had a conversation. I apologized. She apologized too, because in the heat of the moment, sometimes things are said, but I was a victim. I played a victim. I didn't accept her help. I didn't see it at the time. Why? Because I reacted in fear. I reacted in ego. I reacted in victimhood. That's what I did. And because I behaved in that way, that was the outcome. She reached out and said, let me take your laptop. Exactly the same thing that happened at the gym. Exactly the same thing happened when I fell next to my wife. But I've learned over time, because when your mindset is of positivity, when your mindset is of healing, when your mindset is of love and kindness and compassion, you will accept help. I will always accept help where I need to. And I'm still working on this, by the way, with my frustration, because I'm having to use the crutches. Sometimes, if I'm bathing the kids and they splash in the bath and we have tiles, and sometimes I'm like, kids, don't splash, because I don't want to slip. But it's my responsibility to make sure I don't slip. So I've learnt now, and in time, to, okay, where can I leave my crutches now so that they don't get wet? And I'm also now in a position, because I tested it, I took myself out of my comfort zone and I walked without my crutches. I had to hold on to things sometimes, to the kids' bedroom and back. So I don't need to fall. I'm not going to fall now. Why? Because I looked for a solution. Because I don't want my negativity to affect my children, to affect my wife. I don't want my behaviors to affect them. Am I perfect? No. Guys, it's not about perfection. It's not about being better than. It's just trying. But it's not trying as in, oh, I'm trying my best. Are you really? Are you really, really, really trying? If you're really honest with yourself, because you know that when you ask yourself that question, am I trying my hardest? You know that the answer is going to be no. You know the answer is going to be no. And I know even myself, can I do a little bit more? Yes. Yes, I can. And every day I try that little bit more. And I don't beat myself up. I try to be kind to myself, because I understand also this is just an experience. It's just an experience. This is just a human experience. This is all an illusion, whether you see it or you don't. It's just an experience. And we put so much pressure on ourselves to be a certain way, to behave. And by the way, I don't want to tell anybody what to do because of this reason. I'm just trying to knowledge share to hopefully give you hope, give you courage, give you an incentive not to give up, because I've been there. I'm going through it myself. And the more and more I get past the challenge, the more and more I give that little bit more effort, the more and more I try, the more and more I accept that at times I'm gonna cry, I'm gonna feel sad, I'm gonna feel hurt. When I sat in the gym and I was sat at the bench and I was looking at myself in the mirror, my heart ached and it hurt me for a moment, because I'm on crutches. I can't move around, and I love training. I love exercising. I love being able to do things. And for a moment, it hurt me. And there was a part of me that wanted to push it away, but I wanted to sit with it and understand why. And what I got from it, because I didn't push it away, is I'm grieving. I'm grieving the old me. So I understand when you go into that victimhood. I understand that when you're in pain. I understand when, when there is that sadness, that sorrow, that, that real suffering. I know that that's grieving. You're grieving an old life. And that's what's happening to me. I'm grieving the old Alex. I'm grieving that, but I'm allowing myself to grieve and let go. The old Alex doesn't exist anymore. He's gone. He's long gone. This is me now. I accept who I am today. I accept who I am now. And as soon as I said that to myself, as I'm looking at myself, looking at myself in the mirror at the gym, the first thing I did is I picked up those dumbbells and I finished my workout. And then because I had a little bit of time as I was waiting for my wife to come and get me, I did a few more exercises that I knew I could. I just went that little extra mile because I felt like I could. So don't ever give up on yourself, but come to terms with who you are today. You are not that person you are never going to be, but you have the chance to be so much more. You have the chance and opportunity to be so much more if you allow yourself to do that work. And honestly, I invite you to come and do that work, to do something different every single day, to listen, to understand, really master your mind, to cut the bullshit narrative, to undo that victim mentality addiction, to undo that addictive behavior, to stop sharing things that are negative, to try and stop trying to pull people down. If you're catching yourself doing it, if you're right, and I do it, I write something down, and there's so many times where I've just deleted it and actually didn't comment and sat with it for a minute. And then all of a sudden something different came up, which was from a positive perspective. And when I shared that, the conversation was so different. Take time, reconnect with that area of yourself that is positive, that is filled with love and light and kindness and compassion and confidence. Because when you rechannel that energy, everything in your life changes. And I'll end it on this. I'll set you this challenge. Every single one of you, doesn't matter what you're going through. As I said, this is an illusion. It's a game. Let's just see it as that. We're all actors. We're all here to play a part. Everything that's happening to us, we understand. So let's just say now that everything that's happening for you is happening for you because you chose the experience. Okay? Whether you believe in it or not, play the game. You chose this experience. So, with whatever your current situation is or your condition, you have a choice to continue giving up, to continue sitting in the negative, okay? Or you now can make a conscious decision to change that and give 110%. You have nothing to lose. Remember, this is a game. You have nothing to lose. So I'm challenging you. I'm inviting you to take part. Go for it. 110%. Change the mindset. Change the mindset. Rebuild your body, mind, body, and spirit. Learn to connect with yourself. Learn to understand who you truly are. Meditation, breath work will allow you to connect with who you are. Be humble. Be kind. Forgive yourself. Forgive others. And just go for it. Just go for it. Write down on your phone, on a pad, on a board, I don't care, in post-its, write down who you want to be in the next 6 months, 3 months. Write it down and just go for it. Understand exactly what you need to do to become that person. What do you need to do? then go and find a solution that's going to help you to get there. And just every single day, keep it simple, work towards it. You're not chasing perfection. You're just taking action. Let me know how you get on, because I promise you, remember, you have nothing to lose. It's going to be hard at the beginning because you're changing the most powerful thing, which is your brain, which is your mindset. But once you do that, everything else falls into place. If you don't give up, if you keep it in the day and you take daily action, your life will change. So remember, you have nothing to lose. And if you don't reach that goal when you get to the 6 months, you can give up and you can go back to your old shit life. But I guarantee you, hand on heart, this is a promise, a guarantee. If you do every single thing that you are supposed to do without bullshit, without kidding yourself, without trying to fool other people, you will reach that goal. I guarantee you. Have an amazing day. Thank you for listening. If you've listened this far, I hope you got something out of it. I will see you on the next one. Take care.
Thanks for listening. And if you want to find out more about how you can overcome issues caused by mental health, go to alexdasilva.co.uk. That's www.alexdasilva.co.uk. See you on the next one. Be great, be fantastic, and be absolutely phenomenal. Take care.